Hello, afternoon, evening, depending where you are in the world. It's just gone 7 p.m. and it is January the 25th, 2024. How are we all doing, everybody? This is part 2.2 of our Down the Rabbit Hole 2024 series, where we're going to be looking and delving into different topics. I've got some really interesting ones coming up for you. So, right, we'll just let a few more people come in and then I'll start the audio. Okay, I'm just setting up a sec. I've got a sleepy Momo here. So he's asleep at the moment, but if he starts waking up and being a little pest, then I'll have to call Al. Right. Why is it every time I go live, I start yawning? Right. Okay. Just give me a sec. Okay, just getting into the live stream. Okay, we got 33 watching. Illuminati confirmed. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all well. Good to see everybody in the chat. We're on part 2. Have they got to the bottom of this mystery? No, we haven't. But we're getting the last update, the last call, the last update. Just say hello to everybody here. We've got Nikki, Julius, Candice. Hello, darling. Our first member. Thank you for being a member, darling. Really appreciate that, sweetheart. Terry Knowles band again in the house. Space Cat's here. Don't Start Me on Food. Lily Bell. Willie. Hello, Willie. Sing Blue Silver. Amanda Sky. Rebecca. Hello, my darling. How you doing, sweetheart? We got Kev. Another member. I think you got a gifted membership. It's up to you if you want to keep it after. Totally up to you. Sing Blue Silver's here. Hello, Dan. How you doing? We've got Matt D, the newest member. We've got Diane, who's another channel member. And we have the Wanderer. They give me the Wanderer. They give me the Wanderer. Right then. How you doing? Oh, God. Sorry, I'm really tired. David Wellington, another member. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you guys. So, we're going to start playing this other half now. For those of you that have come in and 4 p.m. dossed on the sofa for 2 hours, oh, I do like a nap. I do. When I was younger, I was never bothered about naps and sleep. You know, sleep was for the weak. But you get older, don't you? Hello, Crosshatch. Good to see you. How you doing, Rebecca, my lovely? Rebecca left a nice message last night. Carlos the Pure Blood in the house. Oi, oi, how you doing? Right, if you're coming in and you don't know what's going on, you're probably better off missing this one, okay? Because if you haven't been, hello, Ann City Farm. Have you been watching it, darling? Rebecca, did you catch any? We've got in from at 6 p.m. 12 hours. Day off tomorrow for my orthodontic appointment. Oh no, you okay? And then on night Saturday. Oh, darling. Right. Well, if you haven't watched the last 2, especially the last one is very important. You probably won't understand this. We're going to be listening to a radio call, some more of this 2-hour call. We've still got an hour and a half left to go, so we may or may not make it all. I don't know. And if you're wondering what's going on, okay, a really extremely brief. Oh, okay. Oh, as long as you're all right, my lovely. Oh, yeah, they're like, I forgot orthodontics. I'm thinking of orthopedics. All right, Druss, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Hello, everybody. Hello. So, uber quick, right? Uber quick. There is a hole called Mels Hole. He called into Coast to Coast, the radio show, in 1997. Hello, Brett. Settlements in the house. Good to see you. Just waiting now for surgery. I watched part 2 this morning. Oh, okay. Sing Blue Silver. So this is part 3. Yeah, 2.2. Yeah. Hello, Jules. You've not missed anything. How you doing, Brett? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I always miss you. Every time, because it's like 3 a.m. when you go live. But thank you for popping in, Brett. I really appreciate you, mate. I really do. Check out Brett's channel if you you've got to have Brett's very off the cuff, but I like that. Okay, I like that. Anyway, going back to this. So there's the thing called Mels Hole in Washington State, not DC. Hello, Temp. And he called in this radio show Coast to Coast, and he was telling them about this hole that he bought he bought this land, and there was this huge hole, and it was never ending, like a bottomless pit. It reminds me of Quatermass and the Pit, and all these movies from the 50s and the 60s where they found things under the ground, like the Lost World and all that shizness. He was offered money by the government, millions, to go and leave the land to them. And then yesterday he filled us in. He called again another at least twice more. He called in Coast to Coast 4 or 5 times between 1997 and 2002. And I've managed to get hold of the original calls into the archive. They're not available on YouTube. I had to become a member of Coast to Coast to get access to these archives. And because we're going to be using a lot of these calls to Coast, I'm going to be renewing that membership because we need to get the source material. I don't like watching and listening to people talking about stuff. I like to go to the source because you can't get any better than that, can you? Hello, Manda. Hello. Yeah, Crosshatch. It's been very, very interesting. Nikki, Jane is here. Hello, my darling. We loved you, Jane. Jane's our super mod leader person. Hello. How you doing, darling? So we are now at the point where you used to love Coast to Coast and Art Bell was late. When did he die, Space Cat? Do you know, sweetheart? So we didn't have it over here. But now Coast to Coast is on YouTube. But it wasn't then because YouTube didn't exist. Okay. It's paying for 4 teeth out. Oh no. Oh, darling. I had all that done when I was younger. I had too many teeth. Have you got a crowded mouth? I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. Oh, I love you more, Jane. Candice is here. Candice, just quick question. Have you been I don't think you were in chat last night. I don't know if you've been following this. There's some people have left comments on my other channel. Says, Penny, we're not watching this one. It's not our thing. And that's great. You know, that's fine. I'm glad people say that because it isn't everybody's thing. Hello, David Haynes. But for the people that are like me and really into this sort of stuff, then it's interesting. Right, we're going to get straight into it now. So at this point, Mel has told us that he came back from Australia. He came back to his property and the government wouldn't let him in. And the next thing he knows, he's been beaten up, he's appeared across town, across city with no teeth. And yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Now, apparently during this call, he finds another hole. This last call sounds a bit more ridiculous, but then who knows? Okay, who knows? If he is trolling, he's kept it going for 5 years. So we're going to continue this now. I'll be stopping it now and again. But if you don't know what's going on, I've given you a really brief overview. 2018 was it? I've given you guys a really brief overview. I was asleep but caught up today. Oh, okay, Candice, darling. Okay, so at least you know what's going on. Right, okay, here we go. This is Mel Waters ringing into Coast to Coast, talking to Art Bell. I think this was June, but I'm not 100% sure. And I know for a fact it's in 2002 when the bunny was 22. Well, I was 21 then, actually. To be 21 again, eh? Blimey.
No, the significance of it. I just looked at it as a couple of old silver times.
So now suddenly you relate it back to the hole and the property.
Exactly.
I see.
Exactly. So I got this, so that kind of explains why the buckle would be taken from me.
I suppose so. It might be proof of
something other than
who knows what. Yeah.
But that happened over there. And I just wanted to bring it up today. I haven't been able to track down my former wife at all. I mean, she is just like vanished. I don't know where she is. I don't know what name she's gone under. I have no idea.
So basically, his wife at the time when he first rang up in 1997, his wife went to the university and told them. Now, that is how the government ended up being involved. But between those, there's two or three calls that are missing here. Now, they're not on the archive on Coast to Coast. So if I ever find them, I will play them. But between the first call and this last call, his wife disappeared, vanished, and he can't find her anywhere. That's why he's saying my wife is gone, just in case you're wondering. So, which is really sad, isn't it? So his wife has disappeared, and the belt buckle he's talking about is that he found a coin in the ground on his property, and this coin, when he found it, was really old, and it didn't even, it wasn't even made then. So it's obviously from the future. Is that right? I get mixed up. So we've got a bit of a time travel element as well. But this last call, it does sound a bit more far-fetched. But then the whole thing, if this guy was telling the truth on call number 1, then all this weird stuff could have well happened. Anyway, we're going to continue.
All right. Here's a question for you, Mel.
Yeah.
The military obviously still is in possession of your property, yes?
Well, we have been saying military, we have been saying government.
Whatever, whoever they are, they've got it, right?
There is someone in possession of the property, yes.
So if a person were to go to this property, they would be halted or stopped before they could go on and make any sort of investigation or whatever, right?
I'm going to assume a number of things since I have not actually gone anywhere within 5 miles of the property since then. That there's a chain link fence around it. There's probably a sign that says agricultural research, do not enter, or something like that. That's what I'm going to assume.
Okay.
Okay. I'm also going to assume that what it looked like when I owned it, or had it in my possession, it doesn't look like it now. I will also clue everybody into one thing. Art, are you familiar with the Terra server?
Yes, that's
the satellite imagery.
Yes, you can get satellite imagery of almost any spot on Earth.
Okay, you go to the Terra server.
Yes.
And you go see the pictures where my property is in the Monastash.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us how to do that? In other words, what specific photograph are we looking at? There should be a number or something.
Well, yeah, I don't have that handy, but if you found Ellensburg,
yes,
so
right,
the picture got smaller,
right,
you will see where my property is, and it's very easy to see where it is.
And in how would we identify it?
Because it has been expunged.
What do you mean?
Those pictures do not appear on the satellite server. The ones taken in June of 2000.
Well, instead, where your property ought to be, what do we see?
2 white squares.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. You go to Terra server, that's provided by Microsoft. I'm not going to give any URLs.
No.
Right, okay. So this is in 2002. There was no Google Earth. So people were using Terra server, which is the satellite images. Okay. So I did get some coordinates the other day from Jane, which I'm not going to do now. I'm either going to do it at the end of this, or I'm going to do it on another show. But just while that bit is fresh in our mind, I just want to show you this. Okay, so this is Google Earth. This is Ellensburg, which is the little town where he lives in Montash, which is in Washington State. So you can see here, right, the red. You should be able to see this. Let me just get this up. Okay, so this is the size of the town. All right. Something dodgy about notifying me. I pressed it, but it's still... Oh, yeah, they are. It's really annoying, isn't it? I'm sorry about that. So I just want to briefly, we're going to go back to the call in a sec, but he said if you look from the terrace, this is 2002, guys. Photo was taken in 2000. This is way before any Google Maps or anything like that. But he said that from the satellite, there's 2 white squares. So if we look from there, the only 2 white squares I can see would be that and that. But are they just buildings? Okay, now if we zoom in a little bit more, there are 2 white squares, that and that. Okay, just keep an eye on these 2 here. There are a lot. These are clearly like trucks or buildings, but that one and that one, it's not a square, it's a rectangle. But okay, so this one is saying it's a supermarket, Fred Meyer, and this one isn't anything. So let me just home in on that. Okay. Oh, they still have Safeways in America. Now, we need to bear in mind that in all these years on, wherever this hole is, we know it's in this town where he says it is, they would have built stuff over it. They're not going to leave a big hole with a bit of wood over it. Now, since the terror servers of 2002, with Google Earth and Google Maps, they can't hide. So I think that this blanking out things, it isn't going to work in this day and age. So it was Al said it, and I agree with Al. They would have put buildings over it. So trying to find it on here is nigh on impossible because there's going to be big buildings. So therefore, we're looking for any big buildings or any sort of government military type things. So, but there's so much land like this here. This comes under the border, as you can see the red line. So all of this comes under the border of Ellensburg, but he won't tell us where it is. So I think it's after the call, if we get time, we will be having a look and having a look at the maps, and we'll get those coordinates as well and see if we can find anything. But we need to be looking at buildings, and we need to be looking at when these buildings were actually put up, because I think that's something we need to find out. Free speech. Hello, my lovely. We have Texas, Nonya, Texas. Afternoon, ma'am. I love his accent. Okay. Hello, Debs, my lovely. So we're going to get back to the call, but I think that is something we could look at. Maybe, if people want that, you may want me to stop. I don't know. Okay, let's continue the call. Please hit the like button as well if you enjoy the content. And if you're watching the replay, if you're in the replay crew, big up to the replay crew. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Please hit the like button or the dislike if you don't like it. Thank you very much.
A lot of people know how to do it.
And look up Ellensburg.
Right.
Zoom out.
Right.
So you get and then you will see over where the Monastash Ridge is.
Yes.
My property blanked out.
Right.
Actually,
did you hear that? What? Let me just listen to that bit again, okay? And I'm going to look at the maps myself while we listen, okay? Actually, no, we don't need to. We can all look at the maps because I can play it in the bloody background, I think. Let's just see if this works. Apologies, guys. I'm going to play the call. We're going to listen and look at the map. Let's see if this works. Let me know if you can hear this. I'm going to go back a little bit more. Let me know if you can hear it. Can you hear this? Okay. Okay. I thought you might have been able to hear it. That's fine. That's fine. It's not a problem. So don't worry. I'll look at the map while we're listening. Well, you can't see the map.
and I just wanted to bring it up today. I haven't been able to track down my former wife at all. I mean, she is just like vanished. I don't know where she is. I don't know what name she's gone under. I have no idea.
All right. Here's a question for you, Mel.
Yeah.
The military obviously still is in possession of your property. Yes.
Hello, Ellen. Hello, Nanny. Thanks, Jen.
We have been saying military. We have been saying government.
Whatever, whoever they are, they've got it, right?
There is someone in possession of the property. Yes.
So if a person were to go to this property, they would be halted or stopped before they could go on and make any sort of investigation or whatever, right?
I'm going to assume a number of things since I have not actually gone anywhere within 5 miles of the property since then. That there's a chain link fence around it. There's probably a sign that says agricultural research, do not enter, or something like that. That's what I'm going to assume.
Okay.
Okay. I'm also going to assume that what it looked like when I owned it, or had it in my possession, it doesn't look like it now. I will also clue everybody into one thing. Art, are you familiar with the Terra server?
Yes, that's
the satellite imagery.
Yes, you can get satellite imagery of almost any spot on Earth.
Okay, you go to the Terra server.
Yes.
And you go see the pictures where my property is in the Monastash.
All right. Well, why don't you tell us how to do that? In other words, what specific photograph are we looking at? There should be a number or something.
Well, yeah, I don't have that handy, but if you found Ellensburg,
yes,
and you zoomed out, so the picture got smaller,
right,
you will see where my property is, and it's very easy to see where it is.
And in how would we identify it?
Because it has been expunged.
What do you mean?
Those pictures do not appear on the satellite server. The ones taken in June of 2000.
Well, instead, where your property ought to be, what do we see?
2 white squares.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. You go to Terra server, that's provided by Microsoft. I'm not going to give any URLs.
No, a lot of people know how to do it.
And look up Ellensburg.
Right.
Zoom out.
Right.
So you get and then you will see over where the Monastash Ridge is.
Yes.
My property blanked out. Actually, quite a bit. There's quite a few.
Wow.
So that is, you don't have to go by what I say.
Okay, sorry, right. Sorry to mess you about, all right, but we've just I heard it that time. I caught that, did you? The Monastash Ridge, okay? Yeah, he's not going to give it, is he? Because the thing is, I can understand why he doesn't want to give it. So we're just going to come back in a minute, all right? And we're going to go over to the Monastash Ridge, okay? So it's over here. Now, can you guys just see this? So this is important, okay? Now we've got this. We're just going to do it now, otherwise we'll forget. What's the matter? He's south of Ellensburg. Right, okay. I'm going to ignore chat because I'm going to get distracted. Thank you, Jane, love. So he's saying it's over here, the Monastash Ridge. So I was looking in the town, but I didn't realise that outside of these lines was still part of it. So we have the Monastash Ridge Trailhead, Monastash Ridge Hike Summit. Okay, now this is interesting, guys. The Monastash Ridge Observatory. So he said if you go to the Monastash Ridge, you will see 2 white squares. But this was in 2002 with the Microsoft Terra server. Obviously, we're looking at Google Maps. Is that a little square there? Hold on. I'm going to get back to the call. Okay, I know people want to watch the call. Okay, what's this here? Is that me or is that a perfect square? Pretty good square there. Good place for a property. Not looking at chat. Just distract me. Okay, that's the furthest I can go. I don't think the little man will go, but let's have a go. No. Okay. Hello, Mo. You awake? Mo. Okay, back to sleep. Sorry, guys. What's that? The fuck is that? Guys? Hello? Guys, what's this? Oh my goodness, what's that? I'm going to take a screenshot. Hold on. I always forget how to do this shit. There it is. because I can't zoom anymore, you see. So if I do a screenshot, we know we can go back. Okay, can you guys, well, it's got a little thing there. Guys, it says here, there's a little thingy bob, and it says Kittitas County, Washington. And it's got some coordinates. Why would some random hole be called Kittitas County? What's that about? Why would that little hole have a name? What are people saying in chat? Looks like a pond. I don't think it does. Hello, Jeff Swig. Henry Hill, hello. It's not going to look like a mysterious hole to the bottom of the world, though, is it? I don't think that. Why would a pond be there? And why would it have a landmark? Now, if let's just say, for example, let's just say that was the hole. I'm not saying it is, but let's just say that was the hole. It's in the blanked out square, which has obviously been lifted since, but it's still left a mark. Secondly, if you were saying to the other baddies, the other government agents, how do we find it on Google Maps? We dropped a pin there. Look for Kittitas County because we've dropped a pin there saying that. Why would that have a pin of this? Now, I'm going to click on this. What? Kittitas County has a population of 44,333. Okay, that's the information that it's given me. Why would the pin be there? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, now we need to get back to it again. Now, shit, where is it? Let me come back out again. Where's Ellensburg gone? It's bloody lost it again, isn't it? Anyway, we'll get back to the call and we'll look at this after. But another thing is that this here is on an old Indian reserve. I don't think it is a pond. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it's a pond. Hello, Paul. How you doing? Right, we're going to get back to the call. I just thought we'd do that then because I thought this is the good time to do it while they're talking about it. Because if we don't, we'll forget later. Be interesting to know if those coordinates to that Kittitas County match the coordinates that you sent me, Jane. I haven't even looked at them yet. Okay, here we go.
Oh, no. Listen, one of my, trust me when I tell you, one of my listeners within the hour, I can guarantee will find the exact photograph you're talking about if it exists. Send me the URL and or send Keith the URL and we'll get it up and take a look. And you're claiming
it's not there.
But
it's been expunged.
Well, expunge away.
Jeff Swig, really? Okay, Jeff Swig says that somebody went there and took a photo of it. If that's true, that would explain why the photo where it's come from. This photo I'm looking at now. And my thumbnail. So interesting. Thank you for that. Welcome, Ladybird. Anybody else who come in? Welcome.
They might, but that still would identify the exact location.
Well, it still covers a lot of ground there. But where it is, and I assumed that because this picture was taken in 2000. Okay, I believe it was in June or something of 2000.
Right.
That there's been a lot of differences made in that area. And none of these, see, you get a really good picture on a Terra server.
Well, yeah, pretty good.
You could basically see a car on the road with the Terra server.
Yeah.
That's from the satellite. So, I mean, you would see a hole, you would see outbuildings. All
right, let's direct people again. Let's say it again. So listeners who want to go to Terra server right now and help us out, tell them where to go again.
Look up Ellensburg, Washington.
Then
you just zoom out on the town until you see the black, the white squares where my property would have been.
And that would be exactly
on the Manastash Ridge.
All right, there's a good piece of evidence we can go hunting for.
Just go there, but whoever controls the satellite and releasing it to the Terra server people decided not to let them have these pictures.
Oh, isn't that something?
Okay.
Just had a quick look, just out of interest, on TerraServer. TerraServer is a commercial website that was originally specialized in aerial and satellite imagery, which was originally launched in 1997, and it was owned by Microsoft, I think he said. It says here that it was acquired by a company called Precision Hawk in 2015, and its site is currently down. Find that interesting. Do you know why I find that interesting? Who are Precision Hawk, and why would they buy something that is not going to be used and is down? Were they buying it so they could shut it down because there's things on there that we shouldn't see? Just saying. Because these days, Google Maps, they've got the technology to just sort of change stuff, blank it out and make it look less obvious. But in them days, they didn't have that technology. So whatever was on the server, you seen it, and it was an obvious big white square. You didn't have Google Maps then. So I find that interesting. Why would you buy it? I'd like to know who Precision Hawk are. And just be interested for me to look at the main players in Precision Hawk. I'm going to have a little look while we're listening. Let's continue.
So
I mean, every listener can do this. I mean, I've had, people want to go out there, and the only thing I tell them is don't go there. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen to you. I don't know what people will do to you.
Going to be nothing but grief of one sort or another.
I mean, it's these guys to go to Area 51.
You know that people have made treks to find Mels Hole.
I right now, I tell you, look, it's there. Don't go there. You don't have to go there. It's there. But don't go there on my account. I don't want to be responsible for anybody. Anyway, so that was some, that's kind of like, bringing this into focus here. Okay.
It brings us certainly up to date. Yes.
And, I had a couple of other interesting things. These things are kind of loose ends, but they're not loose ends.
All right. You're going to have to hold on because we're at the top of the hour, and then we're going to shortly get to the next hole. Mel has a new, apparently endless hole. I'm Art Bell.
To reach our audio networks.
Sorry about that, TerraServer. All right, we've got one TerraServer image, which is says it's covering an area about 5 miles southwest of Ellensburg, Washington. Does that sound right?
That's about the neck of the woods we're talking about.
Well, in this neck of the woods, there's one great big white blotted out area where I presume were I to be able to see it.
Wow.
And it does look like a very interesting area, actually.
Oh, yeah.
There would be.
So a caller has contacted him with the photo. Damn it! How do we find it? Okay, I'm going to get on that. Tell Penny where the proof is about the hoax. Then, right. What was proven to be a hoax? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. There was people doing content about this very recently. They also make drones as well. Okay, it's no good coming in here and saying that's proved to be a hoax without any or more information. Look, guys, if you haven't got the same sort of attitude as us, and if you're not intrigued by things, and you're extremely skeptical, it's good to be skeptical, it's healthy, but if you're the sort of person that shuts anything like this down, you're on the wrong channel. Like we want to find stuff out, and if it is a hoax, then we'll come to that conclusion at the end, but we're going to get to the conclusion together. We're looking at all the evidence, so let's just hear what's going on. And if you find it boring, it's okay, But at this moment in time, the caller that's it, open-minded. Right, Glasgow Dave, you're in the wrong place. You're asking me questions that something happened in 1997. Okay? I don't know. Get a time machine built and go and have a look yourself. Okay? Anyway, Someone's found the photo, so I'm going to go onto Google and have a look while I'm listening. I'm wondering if that's the photo I've seen.
Be Mels Hole, somewhere there, huh?
Yeah, that I think that blotch over there covers like a 4 mile by 8 mile area.
My goodness.
But
what a blotch.
Isn't that something?
Yes, isn't
my nephew told me about that, and I said, well, you son of a gun.
Well, he's right. We've got it up on the website right now. People can go take a look for themselves. So now we have pinned down better than ever before the area where Mels Hole actually is. Thank you, Mel. That was that's damn good research.
Oh, by the way, not too far from there on the highway that goes to Yakima. I think it's 84 or 85.
Yes.
There's a rest stop. And I had a lot of reports from a lot of people that if they look towards the Monastash, they will see the black beam of light. They have seen it. I have had truckers, I've had people in town say, that's where I was. I was looking towards it, and I saw the flash of black light.
Well, now, maybe my audience is not aware, but a television crew went up to Ellensburg after we did the last program and researched this. And I'll be doggone, they didn't find the hole, but they did find near the area where you were talking about a lot of military boot prints and all kinds of information that would indicate the military, in fact, had been there or was there.
Oh, they would have probably seen a lot of yellow gear tread marks in the ground.
Yep.
You name it, it was there. But my nephew coughed that little piece of information up for me, and I thought I'd pass that along to our listeners.
Well, wait till people get a load of this.
And they can ask, why is it that pretty innocuous? I mean, from all intents and purposes, there's not a military base right there.
Well, who knows?
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying.
Not an obvious one.
Very close to my property, there was the Yakima firing range, and I will tell you that they have expanded the area of the Yakima firing range and also expanded the fly zone over it. Correspondingly.
Isn't this also interesting?
It's all there.
Well, all right. Earlier in the program, before you got on, Mel, somebody fast blasted me, and I consider this a really good question.
Okay.
It is, what are the odds of any single one person finding two apparently bottomless or endless holes in one lifetime? The odds against that have got to be gazillions to one. But then
Oh yeah, and in fact, so you can't even consider odds.
That's right. So outlandish. And oh, by the way, one other thing before we even get to that, Richard Hoagland called at the top of the hour and said, you know what, Art, you're right. Normal time travel could not explain what he just talked about, but there is one thing that could,
and that is
a parallel universe. That is to say, a universe in which similar things occurred, but with very different outcomes. And a lot of our best scientific minds now, Mel, are saying that indeed that could very well be the case. There could be a universe in which the Nazis won the war. And so there could be a universe in which the dime that you came to be in possession of on that property.
So the B on it might have stood for Berlin.
There you go. Oh my God, Berlin. B, I forgot about that. All right, listen. Anyway,
so there we are, and the only thing, a few things I will add to this, just to get us current. Okay.
Yes.
Is that I had reports from some of my trucker buddies. One said he delivered a huge quantity of fiber optic cable.
Really?
To a warehouse in Ellensburg. Now, okay, I don't know. We're talking a huge quantity of to a warehouse.
Now, let's see. What might they want to do with fiber optics?
But he told me that all the guys that were there, that were in the office there and at the warehouse where he had to unload this stuff, they were all Israelis.
What?
They were all Israelis.
Now, it's really going to tick me off if the Israelis have our hole.
Well, this is what he told me.
I mean, that is our hole. It's a U.S. hole.
It's on our land here.
That's right.
But he said that the people that took delivery of that
were Israelis.
Now, I
Dave,
talked with
you're just
another
trolling
trucker.
now.
I love the truckers. The truckers are.
Honestly, I'm not in the mood today. It's not bottom. No, that's as far as the wire would go. It still didn't hit the bottom. Okay, it didn't hit the bottom. We've drilled almost 8 mile that we know of. It's a big hole in Russia. Just because we've only gone 8 mile doesn't mean that's the bottom. It means we haven't got the technology and we haven't got the drills to go any further. Okay. If you're not here to take part or just to listen, just leave the chat. If you don't believe it, that's fine. There's a few people that aren't into this sort of stuff, which is fine. But you don't come out and make stupid comments all the time and mock people that are interested. I'm not in the mood. Jane, if he carries on, just time him out because I'm not in the mood.
I can tell.
I love them.
They're good guys. I know.
Oh, they're the best in the world.
They are. They actually are.
Delivered, apparently, to the same warehouse, a number of crated instruments, large crated instruments from Lawrence Livermore Laboratory.
Oh, gee.
California, ended up in a warehouse facility in Ellensburg. So that's pretty much where I am with Ellensburg. I told you about the coin. I told you about the deliveries.
Yes.
Pretty much up to date.
Now it suddenly brings the whole belt buckle thing down in San Fran into focus. My God, that's incredible, Mel. That's incredible.
I mean, you know, it's funny, Art. You look at some things and you don't put two and two. You say it's a dime. I mean, I told you about it. It's a 1943 Roosevelt dime.
Yeah.
What the heck? That's a dime. What are you, going boo-hoo about your dime? Until you realize,
well,
Roosevelt was alive.
It
then.
finally all drove it home to me. All right.
Well,
all right.
Again, that was me too. I had these things in my hand. I did little soldering around them and stuff. I mean,
sure.
So don't feel bad.
All right. Now let in view of time here.
Okay. Let's move this forward.
Let's. You connected, obviously, because I guess of the plants that you grow, the herbs and all the rest of it, with Native Americans, right?
Yeah. And all I'm going to tell you about them, I don't want to give the name of the tribe because I don't want a bunch of people running down to me there. These are very poor people. As you know, a lot of the Indians on the reservation are very poor people.
Now, this is in Nevada, right?
In Nevada.
Okay. Here in my state.
And there are tribes up there that.
Well, because of the kind of work you did, the metallic work you did in belt buckles and the herbs you grow, I can easily understand the connection you would have with some Native Americans. So you connected with these Native Americans.
Well, they connected with me. They actually contacted me through email.
Oh.
And said, look, would you be interested in coming down and discussing with us, what you're doing, the research that you're doing, and, talk about, I have believe me, Art, I have no commercial interest in this at all, but they do.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay?
Fine.
There's not going to be a patented bottle of Mel's magic elixir here, okay?
Yeah, okay, fine.
This is their thing. But we swap notes, we talked around a lot. And there are some specific.
They knew who you were because of my program and the press coverage, and okay.
So I went down there, and this was in early September of last year.
Oh, okay.
So this was actually before 9/11.
Right.
Okay, but shortly before that.
Early September.
I was pretty much incommunicado basically during that whole time, and strangely enough, so a lot of this stuff is news to me.
All right.
So, we're over there and, they had done a lot of good work. They had cataloged a lot of plants. We talk plants. I'm sure all this plant stuff is boring. And I asked them if they knew, and I told them, I said the plants that seemed to work the best were the plants that I had been growing on my property. And I described to them which ones they were. And,
this was the hole near Washington, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And
so obviously you unraveled the story of the hole to them.
Well, they were aware. They were aware
all right.
of the thing too.
All right.
And so I says, can you, in your gathering and in your research and your studies, have you found this specific variety? And I said, because this was the variety that grew by the property. And that's where I ended up at the second hole, is because they took me directly to, not for the hole in particular.
Well, then it's obvious to me that they knew your reputation.
Right.
They knew the whole story of the hole, and the real motivation for inviting you down there, aside from the herbs and the rest of it, was that they had a hole of their own.
Well, the hole itself, and we're going to get into the hole, I guess, deeply, for lack of a better term, but
now you're guilty.
I'm sorry, Art. But basically, the hole is not on their property.
Okay.
I mean, they basically, their connection, to get from the reservation or where the Indians are to the hole, is they know.
But
where it is.
you're telling me this hole is in my state?
In the state of Nevada.
In the state of, oh my God. Okay.
So it's a new hole on an Indian reservation.
And if you looked at the picture of where the Monastash is in Washington, and
right,
try to find similar pictures in Nevada, you probably find it there too.
We have very similar looking terrain.
It really is. That's why I love. I love the high desert. That's my kind of land.
So
but anyways, so I'm up there, and this land is used by members of the Basque, BASQUE community.
All right.
The Basque are, the Basque are interesting people, and they basically came out to your state and a couple of other states, basically for raising sheep, of all things.
Okay.
And so they are shepherds, and so I am introduced to what is now the second hole.
All right. Tell me about this. I mean, they took you to it.
They took me there. I did not go all the way up to the hole, but there was conversations between the Native Americans and the Basque and the blah, blah, blah. And they basically agreed that, everything was as it should be, that I wasn't, from CNN or the FBI or the CIA or whatever.
Right.
And so I went there, and I got to see the hole. Now,
all right. What's there?
What it is that if you walking up to it, and first of all, this is in a fairly pristine area. Okay, so there's like no real signs of civilization around there. There's no roads leading into it. There's no telephone wires, nothing like that. I mean, we're talking pristine area.
Right.
No signs of, except for their habitation, no signs of habitation.
Gotcha.
Okay, you're walking up to it, and what you see sticking out of the ground is a 9. Well, the hole itself is the same dimension as the one in Ellsberg. It's
wow.
9 wide.
9 feet in diameter?
9 feet in diameter. This one had a metal collar around it.
A metal collar?
Solid metal collar.
That rose from how?
2 feet high and about 2 feet deep. Metal collar, and it had some notches in it that you could look like, in my estimation, you could mate something with it, to lock it in place. And it could possibly have been like a locking collar.
You mean something was, in other words, it looked like something intended to lock to it from above?
Exactly. Something would be lowered onto it and locked into place.
Okay.
But the Basque tell me that this property, or this hole here, has been there for all of their experience, and they have been there since the 1800s. Just the way it is, but the same hole. On not their land. They don't own this land, Art. This is probably U.S. government land.
Well, the majority of land here in Nevada is BLM.
Well, exactly.
Bureau of Land Management.
It's not. BLM. They don't own it. They use the land. They graze sheep, blah, 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 that sort of thing.
And how long have they known of this hole? Do you know?
Well, again, the one fellow I know says he knew this from when he was a young man, and he was well into his late 80s. So he knew it from probably for the last 70 years.
All right. Because of what you did, we know a lot, at least quite a bit about your hole up in near Ellensburg. But this hole, what do we know about this hole other than its diameter?
It's the diameter, and apparently it is lined with that same metal as far as you can see.
You're kidding.
It is solidly lined as far as you can see.
So this is not a natural hole by any stretch.
There's nothing natural about this hole at all.
Wow.
Nothing.
Can you tell what kind of metal it is?
No, but I'll tell you one thing, and it was kind of an accident. but I dropped the box wrench on it.
Right.
On the ledge.
Yes.
Made no noise.
No noise
whatsoever. You drop a box wrench on a metal floor.
Clank.
Clank. Nothing. We repeat the experiment. Clank. Nothing. It makes no. You could pound on that thing with a sledgehammer, and it won't make noise. Okay.
Oh, Mel.
This is what I'm telling you about right now. Is that this one here is so different from the one that I had in Ellensburg, like totally different. Mostly because of this metal around it. But
hello, Blackjack. How you doing? No, this is Washington State, not Washington DC. So this is on the other side of the coast. Washington State is just north of Oregon. It's north of California, north of Oregon, on the west coast. But he's saying that this other hole is in Nevada, comes under Nevada, which is where Coast to Coast was based. And he's saying that it was a Native American, like a reserve again. That's where a lot of this other hole was around there. There was this other hole, but this one was man-made. So let's continue. Don't know if this is true. Who knows?
Well, when you touch the metal, does it feel metallic? Is it cold as metal would?
Oh, this wow. This is interesting because a lot of the fellows that are there, and there was 5 of us at towards the end of it, and we started with 2 and we ended up with 5. But what they say when they're up there, even in the wintertime, they can like put their tent and sleeping bag right up against it, keep them nice and warm.
Warm.
Yes, it keeps them nice and warm, but it is not hot. It's not like like a fire hot. But the metal itself over there
radiates.
I don't even know how to describe it there.
In other words, if you touch it with your hand, is it hot, or does it just produce radiant heat that?
There is heat around it, but it itself is not hot. How does that sound?
This is really weird, Mel.
So they are, that's what, that's the thing there. And so we have this, hole in there. And again, from my understanding, they have known about that hole up there. It's it has been known since the 1800s. It has been known exactly the way it is. I can tell you that some of the people that I talked with towards the end of everything on my way back said it was a spiritual site for them up there. I asked the native
spiritual site. All right, hold it right there, Mel. Good cliffhanger point, so to speak. Sorry about that. Mel Waters is my guest, and we're beginning to hear about a second hole. Oh my goodness, right here in Nevada.
The wild card.
You said a foot or 2 high.
2 feet high,
2 feet high, and 2 feet wide. And the hole is 9 feet in diameter. And as far as you can see, the metal continues down. This is no geographic hole. This is no volcano vent. Or if it is, it's been modified by somebody.
Well, if it's been modified, it's been modified. I'm going to say long before the technology that we know of today.
To do it. And it looks like there was something that should be latching to this hole from above.
So I'm going to call the thing on top of collar, okay? And that's
we'll call it the collar, all right.
And it looked like there's notches in it, and it looked like you could lock something into place or line something up in it.
Gotcha.
It didn't move. I mean, the whole thing was solid. It's solid metal, but there are places where there are notches in it. Something is meant to orient.
I think, didn't he say, though, that he didn't find it? Someone took him to it. I think that's what he said, that someone that was looking for the other hole. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, because I'm really tired and I'm listening, but that was the bit where I got a bit confused, okay? Didn't he say that someone took him to this hole? I don't think he just stumbled upon the hole. I think someone took him to it. And this hole is man-made. It looks man-made. But I've just had a quick search to see if I can find these terror images. I have come across a couple of images, but I also come across a group in Facebook that was only active just last week or the week before. And somebody actually wrote, who wants to help me find the hole? And then a month ago, somebody wrote if they found it yet. So I've actually commented in this group. We're actually listening to the call now live, everyone welcome. So there's also a Mels Hole like appreciation group or something. So it might be worth us like reaching out to one or two of these groups and seeing if they've got any updates, because these people might live in the area and might know a little bit more. It'd be good to get an interview, wouldn't it, with a local? That would be really cool, because they probably know a lot more than what we're going to find out on the internet. But it'd be good to see if we can find anyone who's ever seen it as well. Get an interview in, that'd be good.
My opinion.
All right. What did the Basques or the Native Americans tell you about what they knew of the depth of this hole? In other words, I'm sure they've thrown things into it or have experimented with trying to find out how deep it is or something, right?
Well, actually, they didn't do anything with lowering line it or anything to it, but they did relate to me the same phenomenons as that I had described. One, the fear of animals going by it. Their dogs won't do it. Nothing. They have nothing to do with it there. They too have spoken of the black beam. They've spoken of that.
What do you mean black beam?
From time to time, a black beam. This is a contradiction, but a black beam of light, comes from the hole. It lasts for a very short time, but it just goes directly up into the sky.
And when you look at it, it looks like a black beam. In other words, as opposed to a lighted sky.
If you had a flashlight and it was capable of throwing off a black, not a black light like we used to have back in the 60s, with all that stuff, but black, solid black.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's what. There's no way to describe it. There's no. I am one of the few people that I've had other people tell me about it. I've never personally witnessed the black beam.
You did perform some experiments on this hole, didn't you?
Okay, let me talk about the first one, and I'm not a scientist. I'm kind of a researcher. But the first thing that we did is we had a whole bunch of Safeway or 7-Eleven bags of ice. The kind that you buy, and we had a couple bags of that. So we had put one in a bucket on the surface, and we lowered another bucket of ice into the hole, 1,500 feet.
1,500 feet?
Yeah, we had access to a nice winch and about that much. We only had 1,500 feet of line, and that's what we...
What was the idea of lowering ice into it?
Well, first of all, my curiosity is that I wanted to know, was it hot or cold down there?
Okay.
So we basically waited for the ice to melt about halfway on the surface, and we would hoist up the... I
see. So your ice, you had test ice on the surface.
Yeah.
To see how that was melting. I got you.
Okay. Of, your garden variety convenience store ice, that you buy anywhere, and nothing magic about it or anything like that.
Right.
And so we lowered it down there. We waited for the ice to melt on the surface there, and it got about half melty, So it was sitting in a bowl of in a bucket of water with a few bits of ice floating around. We brought it up, and the ice in the bucket did not melt.
It didn't melt.
It was not melted. So we said, this was on.
No, wait a minute. Now, the hole had been radiating in some strange way heat enough that people would camp by it.
Yeah, they did that in the wintertime.
But it doesn't melt ice?
It didn't melt the ice. It came up there. We looked in the bucket. We had ice cubes in there.
Did anything come back up with the ice cubes?
We had ice cubes. I reach in the bucket at ice cube. I pick one up there.
So in other words, nothing else, dirt, water, anything else?
No,
nothing else.
The stuff appeared pretty much the way we had sent it down, with the exception of when I put my hand in the ice wasn't cold. Felt like ice.
What?
Whoa. We buffering. What the hell? Can anyone hear me? Have we lost the signal? Can anyone hear me? What the hell? You can hear me? Okay, so I'm not buffering. That video is buffering. Is that what you mean? So I'm not buffering. That's buffering. Let me just find where we are. We're on 1 minute 8. I'm going to refresh the page.
So they had done.
Interesting.
My estimation,
What? It won't let us
Would
play.
camp by it.
Yeah, they did that in the wintertime.
But it doesn't melt ice?
Didn't melt the ice. It came up there. We looked in the bucket. We had ice cubes in there.
Did anything come back up with the ice cubes?
We had ice cubes. You know, I reach in the bucket at ice cube. I pick one up there.
So in other words, nothing else, dirt, water, anything else.
No,
nothing else.
The stuff appeared pretty much the way we had sent it down, with the exception of when I put my hand in the ice wasn't cold. Felt like ice.
What?
Wasn't cold. This is what I'm saying. It wasn't cold. You know, you pick up a piece of ice, you put it in your hand.
It's cold.
It melts, and it's cold. In fact, it makes you cold by melting. That's how cold works.
Right.
Well, it didn't. It wasn't cold, and in the hand, it didn't melt.
So then now they're more like blocks of glass.
Yeah, I would say so. But we said, oh, okay, what we'll do here is we take this bucket and we'll stick it on the fire. And we had a little place to cook there. Stick
the bucket with the unmelted ice.
Unmelted ice.
You put on a fire.
We put it on like our cooking fire there.
Okay.
We had a little table and cooking area and stuff over there, and so we put it on there, and the ice catches fire.
What?
The cubes catch fire, and I guess maybe catching fire might be the wrong word. The ice. We took it off the fire right away. You know, so we set it on the dirt, and the stuff in the bucket was still burning. And again, burning might not be the right thing. It was giving off heat.
Was there flame?
It was not so much a flame as a kind of have you ever used a gas stove?
Sure.
Okay. It was like the barest turning a gas stove on. It was glowing like that last flicker before you turn it off completely. That's what it was like around all the cubes. And you could knock the cubes around and separate them, and each one of them, you know, would exhibit the same properties.
Holy smokes!
I will tell you that this bucket, well, some of the bucket there is still sitting there, as far as I know today, still doing what it was doing the day we put it into the ground and brought it up.
So
this was September, and this is January now. That's how long it's been doing what I call burning. One guy took some of the stuff home. He put it in his wood stove, and you know he's got a cabin out there, and you know it gets damn cold where he is, and the thing has been keeping his place warm.
Yeah, northern Nevada is very.
Okay, this is talking about the second hole. I've just found. Just give me a minute, okay? It is. Yeah, this is crazy. Just found some coordinates. Just pop them in. Now, I've been on to Reddit, had a quick gander. Now, this was posted 5 years ago, okay? 5 years ago. I don't think Gizmo's very well again. You know, he had kennel cough. He's snoring a lot. And he's, I don't know, you all right, Mole? You're not feeling well, my love. He doesn't usually sleep this long in the afternoon. Well, in the evening. Not usually goes to bed in a bit. You all right, Mole? All right. Coughing a little bit as well. Right, okay. So these coordinates are on Reddit. Right now, 5 years ago, I'm just trying to see what they looked like 5 years ago. Right, so there's a few coordinates I've been given, right? I'm going to look at both, but I've just found this, and someone's posted, right, this is, I think I've found it. So I'm going to look at the original coordinates a moment, but this is the newer coordinates. But I don't know. Now, remember, guys, we're going to be looking at, if they have planted stuff, we could have fake trees. Okay, there's another little landmark there. What's that? Huh? There's a landmark there, and there's nothing there. Right, so this is the spot we're looking at, okay? Now, this has been put there, so let's have a gander. Okay, so there is a road. There is a road. There is a clearing, so there could be a property. Okay. Now, they're saying that these trees might look fake, so it won't let me zoom in anymore. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the screenshot again, because I can zoom in at a later date. Because I can zoom right in if I do a screenshot. Okay. And then I can't tell, but we've been given these coordinates. Zoom out again. I'm going to keep playing. I'm going to keep looking. If I find anything, I'm going to let you all know. Fake plastic trees. Okay, I hope you guys are okay. I hope you're enjoying this. We're talking Mels Hole number 2.
So this is like giving off eternal heat. Or when I'm not sure I've got this right.
It makes it look.
It was neutral when it came out of the well. It was neutral. In other words,
we put it on the fire, and it appeared. Again, my terminology. This is very bad because
it acted like a fuel.
It will look like, if I understand combustion, it was like it was doing combustion in a different way than we would attribute combustion to, mixing air with fuel and creating heat and flame. It was doing kind of the same thing, is what I'd like to say. And it's been burning like that since, again, burning is the wrong word, but that's all I got for it. I don't know how to describe this process since early September. A guy he took about a coffee can's worth of this stuff and took it home and put it in his wood stove in his cabin. No wood in there.
Yes.
And the thing has been going since then. Now, we have tried this experiment of just the lowering of the bucket, because we figure we'd like to have a lot of this stuff here.
Oh, of course.
And sometimes we would go down there and we would get nothing. Sometimes we would get melted. Sometimes, not melted, but real ice. But every so often, this process duplicates itself. So we come up with the same thing, but it isn't like, every time you throw, you lower a bucket full of stuff there that
it's going to happen every time.
It doesn't happen every single time.
A quarter of the time, an eighth of the time.
I'd say 1 out of 3 times.
1 out of 3.
One out of 3, and I don't know if it was the amount of time down there.
Do you possess any of this yourself?
I took nothing with me, Art. I would not. What is the word? This is theirs for now. Let's say for now, okay?
What about noise? Did it, at any point did it make any noise?
No, we never during this process that we went through. It made no noise at all. It made no noise, and we did not notice anything from the surface, anything particularly unusual, okay, at all. I mean, there was, but
were there any markings on this metal that were discernible. In other words, anything marked or scratched in English or any other language.
Well, we went at it with a hacksaw blade. You couldn't hacksaw it.
You couldn't even dent it.
No. The metal itself, from what I can determine, and I mean, normally if you have a metal thing that's hollow, you could tap on it, and you would hear that it's hollow.
Right.
But with this thing here,
I've just found something again. Steve, hello, how you doing? Okay, so he's talking about the second hole now. Right, I want you to listen to this a minute, okay? So I'm on Reddit. How you doing, Sid? Now, this thread was from, gosh, it was some years ago, 5 years ago. But hello, skipped on you. Oh, sorry, tired. But somebody has sort of woken it back up and commented and said, "Is anybody still looking at Mels Hole?" Okay, so someone's put here. If you look up these coordinates, okay, and they've given the coordinate. If you look up these coordinates, and I don't know which coordinates they're talking about. How you doing, Sid? I love you more. Hello, Agnes. So I need to find which coordinates they're talking about because there's a lot of coordinates in this thread. Then follow this through to the auditor's map to see who owns it. Anyone? Jane, you're in the States. What does that mean? I don't think this is made up at all. Maybe the second one. If you look at these coordinates, then follow this through to the auditor's map to see who owns it. Then follow the property sales transfers. It brings up something very interesting. I don't know what coordinates they are because there's different coordinates in this thread, but it says here, sorry, the property was owned, I don't know. The property was owned by Lynn R. Barnett in 1994, okay? Because he said that he bought it a couple of years before, didn't he? And then it was transferred to this government, or he said he doesn't know what it is, that some agency people that sent him away. And then it was sold to a company called J. Bar Corp for $123,500 until 1997, which was when he made the first call. When it was transferred back to Lynn R. Barnett for nothing, for zero, before being sold to the current owner for 35 grand. If the story that Mel told was true, I believe this would add up. Property sold to the government for roughly 2 to 3 years while he was in Australia, which I believe was around this time. This may give more credence. So it won't let me open the replies. I don't know why. It might be because I've got VPN on. Come on, I've turned my VPN off. Oh, it wants me to log in. Oh, blimey. I wondered if Jane knew what that was. Maybe. Oh, come on. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to keep looking at this while you guys are listening to this. Do you still want to listen to the second hole? Let me know. Yeah, I think that was Mel's wife because remember, Mel Waters isn't his real name. He's made it up. I think we should keep listening while I do some more research.
You know, if you're beating on it with a, you know, like a tire iron,
No
it doesn't
noise.
make any noise. That doesn't give you a gauge as to whether it's hollow or not.
So it was absorbing probably all noise. I mean, there would have
maybe just sucking it up. Maybe it radiated into the ground. I have no idea. That's not my area of expertise. All I know is what I could see with my own eyes, and hopefully by the end of tonight, maybe somebody will have some
answer.
Yes.
What did the locals believe about this hole?
Well,
I mean, you literally just got back from Nevada, what, tonight or yesterday?
Oh, no, this last week. I got home the night that you did the show as the repeat.
That's right. You told me. Okay.
And so it was one of those, it was probably Richard Hoagland say, one of those synchronous moments there where, ooh, I mean, I'm talking to this guy and he's talking to Mel Waters, and in the truck. And then I hear myself, and it's like, hey, I mean, so it was just too much, and so I had to get in touch with you.
Okay, well, again, what did these locals? What was the lore that they told you about the hole? What did they?
Well, again, one of the older Basque men that I talked to, and this was practically as I was heading out of town, and told me that was a very to him, he felt it was a very spiritual place, but he knew the thing from his youth, that it was there exactly the way it is. And he was in his late 80s, so I'm assuming he's known it for 70 years. So he's known it at least from the 30s. And from what he tells me, it's been there as long as the Basque had been in that part of the country, and that goes well into the 1800s. It has existed like that. To be honest, the Native Americans that I talked to were aware of it, but they did not want to deal with it. They did not want to interact with it. Is that a good word?
That's a word.
All they would do is pick some of the various plants that I needed that were in the general vicinity of it, because I wanted very specific ones that I had recommended, and they knew of them.
All right. Are they now growing some of these plants in the vicinity of this hole?
Well, some of those plants are there. They appear to be indigenous to the area, so they did harvest some, early on in the season there.
So then again, you saw similar vegetation around this hole to the one in Washington.
Well, that's why I asked them for,
gotcha.
If they knew, I described to them what it was, and the shape of the things, and the size of the various, and they said, oh yeah, we know of that there. But in terms of why the entree, I assume that the Native Americans knew about this all along there. And I assume that they must have had some conversation with the Basque there that, would this be okay? Are you interested in this guy? Blah, whatever. And apparently there was no objection, so I have access to this property.
Well,
but I want to respect my access, okay?
What about an experiment, Mel, similar to the one you did in Washington, lowering some sort of line, or better yet, some sort of camera on the end of a line? Or
we didn't.
Okay, now listen to this. Someone's put here just 2 months ago. I can't seem to find any property records under that name. Which was, sorry, we're looking for the original hole here, which was at Linda, was it Barnett? Yeah, Lynn Barnett, okay? So somebody's come along just 2 months ago and he said, I can't seem to find any properties under that name, but I did find, let me just find it, hold on a sec. I hate Reddit, I really do. Okay, sorry. But I did find there is a David Barnett in Ellensburg who worked at the college where Mel claimed his wife worked. Okay, so that's interesting. So was this David Barnett and Lynn Barnett? That's interesting, isn't it? Just wanted to add that. Okay, I'm literally gathering a lot of coordinates that are being dropped in Reddit over the years, and I'm literally emailing them all to myself. So I think what we're going to do is going to have to be another show now. I'm going to get all these coordinates together and we're going to have a gander through on another night. If people are interested, it's up to you. I don't know. I love tremors. So I think it's good to get all the coordinates and have a good look through. Yeah, it's a university. So I'm going to keep listening. Let me know if you want to do that. If not, I won't. It'll be looking to see if we can find the hole. I'm going to continue.
We didn't do that between the Basque and the Native Americans and me. We don't have too many nickels to rub together. But I will tell you what we did do. One of the Basque kind of a wise acres. He wanted to lower some marijuana into the hole and see if it would improve its smokability.
So then it would be a pothole, right?
Well, I guess it could be that I hadn't thought of it that way, but he wanted to do that, and one guy wanted to be lowered into the hole himself.
Well, now you see in the hour preceding your
I heard that.
Oh, did you? Two people who would actually like to be lowered into such a hole. Now I know that you believed in the powers of the hole in Washington to the degree that in the original agreement, now voided, I suppose, you were to be, upon your death, buried by being dropped into the hole, right?
How I wanted my remains to be dealt with, yes.
Now that apparently is not going to happen because of subsequent events.
Oh, I've got another place to go now.
Would you really want?
Nevada.
Yes. Would you really want to be? I suppose with some ceremony dropped into the hole.
Hey, just give me a decent. I don't know what it is when you put someone in a hole. Is that interned or?
I don't know what you'd call that.
I don't know either. But one of these guys wanted to go into, literally, he wanted to be lowered into the hole. He wanted to, be put in a gondola or something and lowered, from the winch into the hole and go down as far as we had line, which again was 1,500 feet.
I can assure you, Mel, we could get sponsors for you who would get you all the line you need.
Hey, look, we talked them out of going into the hole because we said, look, see what it did to the ice?
That's a good point.
It says, we sent a bucket of ice down into this hole, and it's sitting up there on the surface burning. I mean, what are you made out of mostly?
Water.
Water. What's going to happen to a human being down there? What properties are going on over there? Yeah, they had, but I mean, the Basque are, as a race, are fearless. When the Moors invaded Spain, they refused to go into Basque country.
Well, okay, what did this man say his motivation was for wanting to go into the hole? I mean, obviously,
he was just a young, headstrong, in his probably late 20s, early 30s fellow that wanted to go into it. He said, this is going to be a great adventure. I want to go in here. I want to see what's going on. But he wasn't thinking with his brain.
Well, there are obviously a lot of people like that, Mel, because I had two of them in the first hour of the program, and they said they would love to be lowered into such a hole. This one, if anything, this one sounds more attractive.
Well, we determined to do, and I'm ashamed to admit it.
Oh?
Is that we decided to lower a sheep.
Really?
To the hole.
Really?
A living sheep.
You did?
Into the hole. We had a crate, the sheep could fit into that we could attach.
Is this the new hole?
The cables to, and we're going to take the sheep, stick them in the crate, and then lower them down.
I'm going to fast forward it, okay?
1,500 foot level, because that's all we had.
Like the ice.
Hole?
Yeah, that's all we had. I mean, we had enough line basically to go that far, and it was stopped.
And he had brought up the subject of a sheep, which apparently they were considering lowering 1,500 feet into the hole. Now, we were having fun last week with Mels Hole, talking about it a little bit. We knew he was going to be on. And somebody said, well, why not toss a cat down Mels Hole and see what happens? Now, of course, I'm a cat lover. And so this is not cruelty, because nobody is seriously suggesting tossing a cat down Mels Hole, but some very creative person with a sound blaster and some talent and a little manipulation created what it would sound like if a cat were to be tossed in the Mels Hole. It's meant, obviously, as pure Just give us the
But
raw
he
truth.
basically decided that we were going to take the sheep and put them in a crate and lower them into the hole. We led the sheep to the hole, and it just started freaking out. I mean, we didn't make
like every other animal.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like totally
not happy.
It was not happy, and I, I have a lot of respect for animals, and it's amazing what animals really know, and what they sense.
Well, you're right about that. And so if it was terrified of...
It was terrified, so the bass got the sheep away from the hole, and again, a lot of what I'm going to say now, I am thoroughly ashamed of, and
that's all right. Just give us the raw truth.
He basically stunned the sheep by knocking it between the eyes. Got into the crate, seeing horrible, ghastly noises coming 700 feet or so, about half the line.
So this is the second
half an hour. And then we decided to, bring it back up.
Right, sure.
So we're hoisting this thing up here, cranking away again. This thing.
So they put a sheep
down life. You poke at it. There's nothing. Nothing.
Agnes, if you've missed the first two, it's pointless trying to get what's going on, darling.
Going on with this sheep here. He's dead. So he can look inside and see the internal organs, like he's going to eviscerate the sheep.
Right.
Except they're not what we expected.
What do you mean?
It looks like there was gel in the cavity there, and something that looked like this huge tumor, and almost taking up the entire length of the body cavity.
Oh, Mel.
I mean, it's pretty hideous.
Why isn't
that? God.
I didn't. I'm getting kind of sick. I get kind of sick thinking about this thing too. But I was getting kind of sick when I was there, so I wasn't as close to all of this as I wanted. Would want to be if I was.
This thing is.
And the thing was alive, but it was connected to the tumor, like with this umbilical cord.
Holy mackerel, Mel.
And we could see the seal moving his eyes, and I'm calling it a seal, okay, but I have no idea what the heck this thing is, okay? I'm calling it a seal. But it's opening its eyes, it's closing it, the flippers are moving, it's still connected to its tumor there. And then I noticed that it seemed to be studying us. It seemed to be looking at us. That was the feeling I got. It seemed to be regarding us while we were looking at it. And so that's the feeling I got off of this seal. And then this thing separated from the tumor without our assistance, because we thought, well, maybe we'll cut this thing free.
Right there on the table.
It's right there, and it moved about a little on the table.
Yeah.
You know, so we're all standing back at that point because this thing is loose. You know,
I'd be way back.
and you know, we're watching this seal, and again, that's the only way I could describe it because it looked like a seal to me.
You and I.
And then I felt, well, I just felt I was in the presence of something extraordinary, something beyond extraordinary, something like I don't know. I'm not a religious man, but it felt in that category of having a religious thing. This was just such a stunning thing to witness.
Well, something that far from our understanding would appear to be magic or religion or whatever you want to call it, I'm sure. Yeah. So what God's name happened to this thing?
Well, we left it there, and it began to, you know, it just kind of looked at us there, and you know, one of the Basques suggested we kill it, you know, and you know, just kind of club it.
Right, it's not a sheep,
fortunately, and
right, okay.
But
this is in 2002. It's happened a very, very long time ago. I fast forwarded a bit where the sheep died, but where they're saying that they got this tumor out. And this thing, and I think this is a portal to Inner Earth, because this is what we're going to follow on to the next one. We're going to do Inner Earth, Middle Earth, whatever you want to call it, Hollow Earth, because this doesn't make any sense. Now, I know some people don't believe this, but this guy doesn't. I believe that this guy believes he's telling the truth. I don't think he's lying. Whether he's delusional, right?
you know,
is that what they did?
No, basically cooler heads prevailed. If the thing was moving around on a table and it finally moved.
But I want to see photos of this seal. Where's the photos?
To the edge of the table.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of like struggling, but it got to the edge of the table.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to fall off.
Right.
So I go up to it at this point because I'm just like out of my head with I don't know what I'm in the presence of. And it looked directly at me when I got.
Okay, this is they're not talking about the dead sheep. The sheep, I fast forwarded it where the sheep died. This is after the sheep had died. Something they cut. Well, it come out of the sheep. It had reattached. It come out itself. I know this is ridiculously insane, but this is part of the story, and I'm just like, what the hell is this thing? If this is real, then it's clearly a portal. Is it a portal to hell? You know, it could be. That's what it's actually been dubbed hellhole, because people are saying that this thing came out was a demon. So I want to listen to it. I want to find out where it went. Did they kill it? What happened to this seal thing? And did they take any photos? So far, we've actually got people calling into the show who could find the terror photo. So, yeah, and I've got a load of coordinates to go through. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to end this very, very soon. I'm shattered.
Got up to it, and it seemed, you know, it seemed to have a contact with me. And I got this compelling feeling to pick it up and place it on the ground. And I did that. I took this thing and I put it on the ground by a table.
Yeah.
And my hands were slimy from the seal, because it had like this goo that was not only in the cavity, but also inside the tumor. And I'm just calling it a tumor because I have no vocabulary for this.
Right.
And I just moved my hands past my face before I decided to wipe them off on the rag at the table there.
Right.
And it smelled like ozone.
Like ozone. Like ozone. Of course I do, yes.
That's what it smelled like because I thought it would be some like sort of weird organic-y smell.
Yeah.
You know, some sort of like disgusting. I just thought it would smell disgusting. It smelled like ozone.
Okay.
So this thing is lying on the ground, and we're all looking at this thing here, and it's like looking at each of us in turn.
In other words, intelligently.
Yes. Yes. We must have been there just absolutely transfixed by this. I'll call it a creature now, for like 2 hours.
What was it doing during those 2 hours? I mean,
studying each one of us.
It wasn't moving around that much?
Just its head, because we had gathered well, this cowardly, but a safe distance away from it, but not too safe, you know. So we could easily see it, and it could easily see us. Because at this point here, even the bravest Basque were like, you know, kind of freaked out.
I'd have been long gone, Mel.
Well, again, the Basque are great.
All right. Well,
have no fear.
Hold it right there, Mel. Here's this thing on the ground now. Not moving around much, but carefully studying each and every one of them, who by now retreated to a safe distance. That's where we'll pick up when we get back. I'm Art Bell.
This is
So that came out of this godforsaken tumor that was in this thing. What happened?
Well, you know, I got the seal, and he's on the ground. He waddles around a little bit in the direction of the hole, and then he just sort of is watching us some more, and we're sort of kind of at a safe distance, but we kind of encroach upon a little bit there. And I'm telling the Basque, hey, you're the big brave Basque here, you know, don't be afraid of this thing here. I'm just just an ordinary old guy here. Just so you know, we went up to it there, and it just looked at us here, and the look that it was giving us was, the only way I can describe it, it was like the most compassionate look that I'd ever seen from any face.
Mm-hmm.
It just, the way the eyes were looking and feeling this, and so some amount of time elapsed, and the little seal there starts to waddle again towards the hole, and I get this feeling that it wants to go up on the ledge, on the collar.
Right.
So I pick it up in my hands and I set it right there on there. It moves around a little bit, and then at this point we're pretty comfortable with this thing. I am, and my comrades there are pretty comfortable with it. I mean, we're not like freaked out anymore like we were, and maybe it's just, you know, we're over the shock, or maybe we are in shock. But that look that was giving us, it didn't seem like an evil thing or a horrible thing. It seemed like,
I'm sure you were in some state of shock.
Yeah. So it's up there, and then it moves around. I don't know how. Maybe an hour. He's on. It
is on the ledge.
The collar. It looks at us. It actually nodded at us. It made like a slow nod. And he turned around and went back into the hole. At this point, we were close to it, so we watched him go all the way down as far as we could see, and we didn't have high-powered lights or anything, so no sound, nothing like that. It
into the hole, and that was it.
Into the hole, and so we were all just moved, just drained. I'm drained telling you this, Art, because it is such an enormous thing to go through.
You realize it sounds like an unbelievable tale from Alien or something. I mean, it sounds
well. I don't know what it sounds like. You know, all I can do now is to relay it,
yep.
and then try to stand back from it.
All right, question for you, Mel. Yeah. Does anybody have any photographs of this hole?
I went up there from the natives to the hole. I basically camped at that property.
Right.
I didn't come and go. No one came and go. We had what we had over there. And so we didn't bring photographs. I personally didn't want to, I thought to myself, look, this would be great. We can get this all on film, on video, whatever.
Right.
But I did not want to encroach upon what they had, and if they came to me and said, look, Mel, why don't we go to town, go home, get our stuff, and try to video, fine. I would have said that, but I was not going to broach the subject with them. I mean, I did, I mean, to me, it was an enormous privilege to go where I'd gone at that
Understood.
point.
Are you likely to go back to the hole?
Yes.
You're going to?
I will. I will let you know that we at first we decided, we thought we would bury the sheep's carcass and the the tumor.
Yeah.
We still had that, and we decided it was just best to take the whole thing and put everything back into the hole where it all came from.
Yeah.
So I just, we just let it be. We had a tarp on we just dumped the whole everything back into the hole where it came from. I didn't know what else to do. We thought about burying it, and it just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't seem right. That I thought it would. And so that's what we did. I want to tell you something that is I believe related to this experience.
All right.
And that is, prior to going to Nevada, and this was in late August, I was diagnosed with a particularly lethal form of esophageal cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This was a like the kind that you have 6 months to live, but they're just telling you that. That there's like nothing they can do, but it was very fast growing. And one of the reasons I came back here was to see the same doctor, because I started feeling a lot better. And my last examination with the doctor finds me cancer-free. I can't explain it.
Then you could document this, right? Because
he had because they had whatever stuff diagnosing the cancer, and I went back to the doctor, and they could find no evidence of any cancer.
Is it your feeling that your proximity to the hole, or something about the hole, changed this?
I think it was the seal.
The seal.
I think it was the seal.
The seal.
I described this thing as this huge tumor, and that's what I had. But I described it as a tumor because that was the only vocabulary I had to describe it with.
Gotcha.
And I handled this.
Well, that's right, you did.
And I smelled the ozone from it, and it just, the look that it gave me, there was something going on. I can't say, look, I was communing with the seal and I was, had this conversation with this seal. No, I can't say that. But what I can say is that I had this feeling of such incredible compassion from this seal that ultimately went back into the hole. We just said, that was it.
And what was the conversation like after all this was over, Mel? Between the Basques and the Native Americans and yourself.
Okay. Well. First of all, the Basques that I were with, they were young guys. Okay. And I think before this, kind of your kind of shiftless sort of characters, partiers and all of that, and they were like just profoundly moved. I mean, they were just had stuff going on in their mind after that they had been to another place, another time, anything. The reality had been all changed. Now, I had the opportunity before I left Nevada to speak right before I left. I went back into civilization and spoke with a Basque elder.
Yes.
And this was the elderly fellow that I was referring to that told me some of the history of that he was in there, for, he remembered it from being a young man, and he described it to me and all of this stuff here. And we had because his thing was he himself would go there to that area for spiritual connection, that there was something very spiritual, very primal that was going on. He was a tough guy to talk to in some ways because he was more schooled in Basque than he was in English, but he got English out enough for me to understand. And so we talked actually at great length about the meaning of this. We did have some of the Native American people that I was work with at that particular thing, because this is kind of like a party sort of atmosphere. out there. You know, we were drinking what they like to drink, and and eating the good Basque food and all of that. And it was, it was a good experience there to kind of decompress from all of this. And so, but he could not relate to me any experience like what we had, except he knew. He almost expected what it was that I was telling him. He just totally, firmly, completely believed what it was that I was telling him. There was no surprise to him at all in this thing here. I got this really old bass guy there, and he's just taking all this in stride and nodding, and
Yeah.
So he knows there's something enormous of great enormity there, and my goal is to go back. I have agreed to work with the people I was working with the herbs, and live amongst them and spend some time with the tribal members and some time with the Basque and spend it. And
are you going to do anything else with the hole itself?
With the one in Nevada?
Yes.
Well, I'm at this point. I don't know what we're going to do. I come back. I'm overjoyed that I'm cancer free. I felt so good after that experience that I knew something happened to my body. So I was glad to get back and have it confirmed that the doctor said yes. But I do plan to go back. I do plan to study it. I hope to be a better human being about this and not send innocent animals into it or what have you. That to me, I guess I still can't believe that I allowed that to happen, but I did, and
well, I appreciate your telling the story straight out this way. That's the only way to do it.
That's the only way to do it, and I got to tell you, I'm not selling a book.
Obviously,
I don't have a newsletter.
Right.
There are no Mels Hole T-shirts, Mels Hole.
Not that you produced anyway. I think.
Well, nothing that I have done. There are no Mels Hole diaper pails or anything like that. I mean, to me,
Mels Hole diaper pail. Who thought that one up?
Well, I mean, they will commercialize everything in the world, and I have no part of this. This has been just an extraordinary ride for me. Okay, it's been like nothing I could have ever imagined in anyone's life. To go where I've been, to be where I was, to go up, to go down, to be in the presence of such an amazing thing. And my only goal is to leave a permanent record of what happened.
Well, how closely are you willing to identify the location of this new hole? Well, just northern Nevada, is that as
I'm gonna put it there. I don't want the tribal people up there to be overwhelmed by people, rushing out of Reno to get up there and
right, which they would,
and doing all of that. I am going to go back.
Do you think you could politely approach the Basque and without identifying the specific area, get photographs?
If I feel comfortable, I will do that. I will also at this point, and I just have a little bit of what I have that happened in my Nevada experience left, but I know we're running out of time, is that anyone that can help me understand some of these things, if they can send an email to me, I'd appreciate it.
All right. You have an email address, right?
Yeah. It's Mel Waters.
Right.
At ATTBI. That's like ball igloo. BI. ATTBI.com.
That's Mel Waters at ATT. That's Tom. Right. B as in boy, I as in India. ATTBI.com, right?
Right. And
Mel Waters at ATTBI.com. What is it you want?
I cannot promise, like a whole, like to maintain a dialogue with people, but
well, what do you want?
There are other people out there that have had any type of understanding of this that can make some sense to me, that knows what's going on. I'm going to listen with fascination to your program on the Hollow Earth business.
Yes.
Because that's something I don't know about, but I sure like to know.
Well, there may be a relationship, obviously.
And so that I'm going to look at.
But I mean, what do you want in email? Do you want some support? Do you want?
Yes,
you're going to get media contacts?
What I really want is just the people that have good, serious opinions about this. That understand some of this. That I described a lot of things that occurred. I don't understand any of them. I only described them. You know, I mean, going back to what I started with, talking about Ellensburg and bringing it up to today.
Yeah, I get it.
I'll put it out.
You want somebody who might understand all of this,
and that you know may have been studying these types of matters, that have had theories, whatever. That's good. But I'm going to be away from civilization for a good part of time, so it's going to be difficult. Because I'm going to be going back probably mid-March, mid-February, mid-March, somewhere in that timeline. And then I'm going to go up there for a period of time. I'll probably give you another contact when I get back to some sort of civilization, probably from Nevada. But I probably will get in touch with you again.
Okay. By all means, Mel, please try and see if they will allow you, I mean, without identifying the area, just to get some kind of...
want like a photo?
Some kind of photographic evidence,
okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be afraid that people are going to be scouring that terror server now that I get that out there.
Well, they probably will.
I want to bring the final thing, because we were talking about the Basque elder that I was talking to. And it was a very profound experience for me to talk with him. And though he was not that much older than me, I felt that he was a great deal older than me.
Wiser.
Beyond that. So I know I could respect that. But we were sitting, you know, there and talking well into the night, drinking that good Basque drink that they like to drink and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And he got tired and he was going to retire for the night. And he took my hand, you know, to clasp it. And in my hand, he put something in my hand when he was leaving.
Yes.
And he closed my hand.
Yes.
And he just told me, put that away. So he said, put that away. So I put it in my pocket and sat around talking with his family. And someone said, aren't you going to look at what, you know, the great-grandfather gave you?
Uh-huh.
And I said, oh, okay. And so I take it out of my pocket, and it's a 1943 Roosevelt dime. They told me he had found a similar packet of Roosevelt dimes.
Oh, my God.
Up there in Nevada, Chinese red envelope. And they said, and I said to him, I said, you know how valuable this thing is? I said, you know what this would sell at a coin auction? They said, no, you have to have it. You need to have this.
Do you have it now?
I have it. It's in my hand as we speak.
How about a photograph of that, Mel?
If I can scan a 1943 dime,
yeah,
you will have it.
Or get somebody who's got a really good quality digital camera, go to the macro setting and take a very close photograph of it.
Close up. But
can you do that?
I will do everything I can to do that.
You know my email address, right?
Yes, we can do that. And but that's what he left me with. And he said to me that it was very, very, very important. Or they told me, because they finished the rest of it. Told me this is something I had to have. Now, I hadn't told them anything. In fact, outside the fellow in Ellensburg, no one else knew about the dimes and the red envelope. But he found one out there, and he had it for years. I think he had it since the 40s, to be honest with you. Late 1943.
All I can tell you is we are out of time. This was one hell of a story.
I'm drenched.
I can tell. I can hear it in your voice. Mel, thank you for being here tonight. Thanks for catching us up on what was and what is. Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Take care, my friend, and I really mean take care.
I will.
Good night.
Good night, Art.
And we never heard from him again. That was the last time he ever called. No one knows what happened to him. Hello, Chili. How you doing? Hello, Masilla. So that was the full. We've heard that. If I can, there was 2, 3, and 4. That was the 5th one. But if I can find the other calls, I would definitely like to play them. So we've been going for 2 hours. Hello, Mo Mo. Mo is awake now. It's intriguing, isn't it? Now, I have got a load of coordinates. I don't know. Terry Knowles band again. I have got a shed load of coordinates to check. Momo, you need to go and wake Daddy up and say, let me out for a wee, Mummy, Daddy. Yes. He's woke up now. He just disappeared. He just vanished. And nobody knows where he went. Now, I'd love to find the other calls. I've just looked. There was a total of 5. I think Daddy's awake now. He was the Epstein, most likely. So there is still people talking about this on the forums and the sub forums. You all right, Mole? He's very sleepy. It's so interesting, isn't it, Kaz? You see, not everyone likes this sort of stuff, but I do. And I'm glad that a lot of you do. Like, not all of you guys who watch the channels are into this. And that's okay. But I think especially the way the world is at the moment, right? It's just more and more insane every single day. And at one point, this would have been like depressing. But now this is actually like refreshing. Than email who? I don't have his email address. So I'm going to keep doing the research. I would like to do those coordinates with you guys and do it live. Me too, Nikki. And then I think what we'll do that, and then on the next show, we're going to be doing Hollow Earth. But I think before we do the Hollow Earth, the first part of the show, we're going to be having a look at coordinates. And then we'll move on to, thank you, Lily. I'm glad you've liked it. We'll move on to Inner Earth, which might be a 2-parter. I'm not sure. I'm sure the email does work anymore. Did he actually say it? I wasn't sure if he did. I bet it don't work. Yeah. So really interesting stuff. I don't know how much of a show Coast to Coast still is. I don't know if it's just a YouTube show now, or do people still call in? You've heard longer. Well, that was the full version. That was the full call. I have, yeah, Danny. That was the last call. He also had Dr. Stephen Greer on that, but that was directly from Coast to Coast's website. That what they've done, which is really helpful, they've just isolated his call. What's still going? Oh, is it? It was crap, Penny, but I like your voice. Well, thanks. Is it still a call-in show? Okay. So anyway, actually, before we go, we will do just one more of these coordinates. Because I've been given a lot. Now, some of these are from a few years ago, so some of these may be... apologies. All right, if I just looked at this one. Yeah, some of these trees look really, really plastic and fake. They really do. Like, we're going to have to go through them all separate. But there's just going to be lots of different shows coming up. I'm also going to be doing some of our webcam where we go and have a little nose around. I like them. I might do that on the other channel. We'll see. Some of these trees don't look real to me. I don't know if it's just me, but it's really difficult to see. It doesn't let you zoom in anymore, does it? Oh, hang on, it does. That's it. I'm sure it used to let us zoom right in. But you see, any of these could be fake, you know? Any of them. Because we just don't know, like, what's really there. And if there was going to be a hole to inner Earth, it would actually be in somewhere like this. Now, there was one thing that I found. What's this? North Fork Mount Ash Cabin. What? Huh? What the hell? What's this? A cabin? Like, what? Oh, what the hell? Why is this on the map? Is that's the toilet? How bizarre. Interesting. What if that's the hole? I think you can put the little man there. Can you? And they've put a cabin over the hole. Look at that, guys. This is just bizarre. This is on the map. Why would a cabin be on the map? That looks like something out of Evil Dead, doesn't it? Clearly nobody lives in there. Here we go. Originally built in 1910 by Mr. Weaver. The cabin and the surrounding area eventually became known as the Milk Ranch. He would bring milk cows up in the early spring to graze in the meadows. There you go. If this is true, I don't know. The Washington Department of Game purchased the land and the cabin from LT in 1968, and the cabin was used by agency staff. What? For many years. A metal roof was installed by the department after a tree fell. Is this normal, Jane, in America, for the government to buy a random cabin and turn it into a I'll put it on the map. Let me know what people are saying in the chat. What? That's just bizarre, isn't it? I said an abandoned building. Weird, isn't it? I just find that really bizarre. Sorry. Really strange. But the thing is, we just don't know, do we? What they're putting over stuff, you know? So, like I say, I've been given a lot of coordinates. America's just so big. It's just ridiculous, isn't it, how big it is? So, look, we're up here. We're not that far from the coast. I'd love to go and live over there. I really would. Always wanted to go and live over there. Right then, guys. You never need to go on holiday out of your continent, would you? Because you can literally have any weather, anything you want in the same country. You know? Have you ever heard of Bunny Man Killer? No, I don't think so. It's interesting. Possible, but seems weird. Yeah. Oh, I want to go to Canada, Danny. Can you put me in your suitcase, please? So many mysteries in the world. Yeah. So Jimmy Church, that was him. He used to be a guest. Oh, really, Jane? Interesting. Oh, are they? Terry Knowles. Secret base, yeah, could be Rebecca. Okay, guys, I've been going for 2 hours, so I'm going to go now. But thank you very much for joining me. So part 4, we'll be looking at inner Earth. But before we start that, we're going to have a quick look at these coordinates that I've been given. In the meantime, that would be amazing free speech. Absolutely amazing. Have you, Jane? Thank you for joining me. I really, really appreciate you. I watched a horror film earlier, by the way. What was it called? It Lives Inside. It's a new film. You can rent it on Skinwalker Ranch will do that one as well. You can rent it on Amazon for $1.99. It's called It Lives Inside. It was actually really good horror if you're looking for a horror movie. And I'll let you go and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.